Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoy my Realist News channel, I think you're going to really love my political game show channel on YouTube. In the description box below, I always put the link there. Maybe I should start putting it in the actual video. We had our first game show tonight, which you're going to see this video tomorrow. So by the time you see this video, the game show video will already be up as well. Sunday morning, 9 a.m. Eastern time. I think you're going to love it. Go check it out. If you want to be on the show, you need to subscribe to that channel. Stay tuned to that channel so that when I make an announcement that we're accepting some contestants, you can go sign up because it's only open for a short window of time. And then we randomly select 4 contestants and have a game show. The people that were on it said it was great. It was fun. Had a good time. And I think it's going to be a success. So if you want a piece of that, you want to watch it, you want to be entertained and educated, join my other channel, The Political Game Show, which the link is always in the description box below. So a couple things on Venezuela. And I was talking to a guy today earlier on Skype, not one of the contestants, by the way. And he was asking me, hey, did you hear about the cannibalization that's happening in the Venezuelan prisons? I'm like, no, last thing I heard was the people, killing animals and, cats and dogs, that sort of thing. But then the last thing I heard was the horse. They ate the prize horse, Arabian black stallion something horse out of the zoo, butchered it and ate it. He goes, no, there's stuff where they're like prisoners are eating other prisoners. I was like, man, I haven't heard of that one yet. So I see this article at Zero Hedge. Venezuela braces for revolution after Maduro blocks recall referendum. In other words, the people want him out. And there's an interesting story at the end of this about these particular types of voting machines that were used in Venezuela in 2004, which got then President Chavez elected easily. Hands down, no one else even close. And I think my opinion on that is that was the club putting in their guy, and then their guy several years later is not doing what they want. Excuse me, do not ask for your gold back. Don't you dare ask for your gold back. Oh, he asked for his gold back. The country's gold back. He was down, remember he was parading it around, showing it off. I got a gold back from the Western powers, look at it. And that marked the exact moment that Venezuela started going down. Was it not? It absolutely was. So Maduro, the new president, boy, he does not want to leave. He doesn't want to relinquish his power. So he's canceling a recall referendum. Not amazing, you can just do that. But first, before I get into that, I kind of sort of want to get into this other thing here. And that is Venezuela government allows cannibal prisoner to torture, eat fellow inmates. Why does this thing keep playing? Hang on one second. So it says the parents of multiple late prisoners in the western state of Táchira, Venezuela, say the government did nothing to stop a notorious cannibal from killing and eating their children, and forcing other prisoners to eat human flesh or face the same fate. The cases do not appear to be a product of the growing threat of famine in the socialist nation, though prisoners in many prisons have reportedly resorted to killing and eating stray cats to survive. Instead, it appears the government has done nothing to contain the perverse behavior of a prisoner known as the People Eater, who is believed to have killed and eaten 40 people before finally being arrested. So, is it related to this famine? Is this... They're saying it's not, but he's had time to eat 40 people, and the story goes on to say that they made all the other inmates eat it too, eat the human flesh, and that there was a guy who made the greatest empanadas out of human muscle. That's kind of like the meat. So he would put the human muscle into the empanadas, and he was the empanada guy, according to this article, by the way. So lots of people are eating humans, but it's not related to the current famine. Okay, if that's what you say. So back to the other article. Current President Maduro blocks recall referendum. Once a flagship socialist nation, Venezuela has suffered over the past couple of years from a dramatic economic crisis that has resulted in severe food shortages, clean water, electricity, medicines, and hospital supplies, all of which have resulted in a desperate population which has resorted to the black market and violence for survival. That said, Venezuela likely inched one step closer to revolution on Friday when Maduro's leftist government took steps to block a recall referendum that could have resulted in his ouster. According to the U.S. News and World Report, Venezuelan opposition leaders are calling the efforts of Maduro a coup in light of the broad-based public support of the recall effort. Venezuela is bracing for turbulence after the socialist government blocked a presidential recall referendum in a move opposition leaders are calling a coup. The opposition is urging supporters to take to the streets, beginning with a march on a major highway Saturday led by the wives of jailed activists, while a leading government figure is calling for the arrest of high-profile government critics. Polls suggest Socialist President Nicolas Maduro would lose a recall vote, but that became a moot issue on Thursday when election officials issued an order suspending a recall signature drive a week before it was supposed to start. Quote, "What we saw yesterday was a coup," said former presidential candidate Enrique Capriles, who had been the leading champion of the recall effort. "We'll remain peaceful, but we will not be taken for fools. We must defend our country." Well, Mr. Capriles, you could start by storming the prison and forcing these political prisoners out. That would show a message. That would show a real strong sign that you're not playing, what was the word used? You're not to be taken for fools. I mean, they're in there illegally, right? Like we're going to break out the cannibals. We want to break out the cannibal, Cannibal Hector, not Lecter, Cannibal Hector from Venezuela, to let him out and eat people. No, we just want the political prisoners. You can keep Hannibal Hector. International condemnation was swift. 12 Western Hemisphere nations, including the U.S., and even leftist-run governments such as Chile and Uruguay, said in a statement Friday that the suspension of the referendum and travel restrictions on the opposition leadership affects the prospect for dialogue and finding a peaceful solution to the nation's crisis. The Maduro government has claimed that the recall was halted due to irregularities in a first round of signature gathering, though the public, 80% of whom polls suggest support the recall efforts, aren't buying it. Meanwhile, Maduro loyalists are calling for opposition leaders to be imprisoned for attempts to commit election fraud. Critical television stations have been closed and several leading opposition activists have been imprisoned. The country's Supreme Court, packed with government supporters, has endorsed decree powers for Maduro and said he can ignore Congress following a landslide victory for the opposition in legislative action. So in other words, tell me if this sounds familiar. You got an executive branch president who appoints his Supreme Court people. It's always been 5-4 rulings. The stuff that they really, really, really wish, the club wishes they could pass, just misses it every time. 5-4 ruling. No, we're not doing it. That's against the Constitution. Damn, almost got him. All of a sudden, Justice Scalia, I'm feeling sick tonight. I'm feeling kind of odd. I'm going to go lay down, never to wake up again. Oh, he died in his sleep of a heart attack. Okay, sure. Now it's 4-4. Obama, I've selected who I'd like to be in the Supreme Court position. He's not going to have the same view as the last guy. So now it's going to be 5-4 ruling the other way. And all the stuff that was a 5-4 against them in all past governments, now will be 5-4 the other way. It'll be for them. Yep, that's legit, that's legit, that's legit. Does that sound familiar? Exactly. It should, because that's your American government. So we have the same thing in Venezuela, right? The country's Supreme Court, that's like our Supreme Court, So Venezuela's Supreme Court, which happens to be packed with government supporters, read that. That means the likes of Obama, an Obama president supporter, a Hillary president supporter, a George Bush or any Bush president supporter. That's what's in there. Same thing. So the Election Commission, which has issued a string of pro-government rulings, halted the recall process on grounds of alleged irregularities in a first round of signature gathering. Polls suggest 80% of voters wanted Maduro gone this year, and the Electoral Council on Tuesday also ordered a delay of about 6 months in gubernatorial elections that were slated for year-end, which the opposition was heavily favored to win. It gave no reason for the delay. Our government is probably licking their lips, chomping at the bit. Man, do we need something to halt these elections? Or maybe they're just confident that the vote machines are going to put Hillary in no matter what. And then when all of us rise up, like the Venezuelan people are, saying we're calling shenanigans, we want to recount, we want a whole re-election, not a recount. We don't want you to recount what you counted the first time. We know what the answer is going to be. Same rigged answer. We want paper. The law state that these voting machines are acceptable, and that if there's any shenanigans, we look into it. And if we look into it and we're found out that they're fine, it is what it is. And I'm here to tell you, we looked at the results. They match what we showed you. Hillary won. How can that be? We have massive exit poll data across the entire country that says Trump won by 80%. Something ridiculous. Again, you may have that, but by law, the law states we have to look at the apparatus. And the apparatus was looked at, it was tested, and it came up with the same results. Oh, so whatever the programming is in the quote-unquote apparatus, i.e. a voting machine, no one gets to see. You don't know what's happening other than it knows it's in test mode, so show them it works right. Okay, when it goes live mode, it's a little different set of programming that it uses. None of which you can see because it's inside the damn machine on some kind of storage device, whether it's a ROM chip or maybe it has a hard drive, whatever. So here's the interesting part of this. Of course, the integrity of elections in Venezuela have long been questioned, particularly after WikiLeaks posted the following cable linking Hugo Chavez to a mysterious company that came out of nowhere in the year 2000, and suddenly snatched up major contracts to supply voting machines around the world. Tell me if you heard this recently, this name. Think of George Soros. Think of the 16 states that have these machines. The company... Smartmatic included a Hugo Chavez campaign advisor on its board. Curiously, according to Gateway Pundit, the company's board also included Lord Mark Malloch Brown, a man who served on the board of George Soros's Open Society Foundation and who was formerly the vice chairman of Soros's investment funds. Wait a minute. I already went to Snopes, and Snopes said that this is conspiracy, and that's not true, and that just because these people work with him and are next to him doesn't automatically mean that they're rigging the votes. Okay? Snopes said so. Snope is like more powerful than this magic 8-ball. What's that? Oh no, it's not. Snopes is not as powerful as magic 8-ball. Magic 8-ball is more powerful. So ironically, shortly after winning a multi-million-dollar contract to supply these voting machines in Venezuela, Chavez won in a landslide victory in 2004 that all but destroyed his political opposition. Coincidence? No, and I'm sure that people voted for him. I'm sure that's all it was, right? So, and this is the piece that I guess their WikiLeaks put out. The Venezuelan-owned Smartmatic Corporation is a riddle both in ownership and operation. Complicated. Actually, I don't know who wrote this, to tell you the truth. Complicated by the fact that its machines have overseen several landslide and contested victories by President Hugo Chavez and his supporters. The electronic voting company went from a small technology startup to a market player in just a few years, catapulted by its participation in the August 2004 recall referendum. Smartmatic has claimed to be of U.S. origin, but its true owners, probably elite Venezuelans of several political strains, remain hidden behind a web of holding companies in the Netherlands and Barbados. The Smartmatic machines used in Venezuela are widely suspected of, though never proven conclusively to be, susceptible to fraud. The company is thought to be backing out of Venezuelan electoral events, focusing now on other parts of the world, including the United States via its subsidiary Secua. End summary. But what is perhaps even more disturbing is that Smartmatic also has secured major contracts to supply voting machines for 16 states in the United States, including key battleground states like Arizona, Colorado, Florida, Michigan, Nevada, Pennsylvania, and Virginia, which leaves us with only one thing left to say. And this is from Joseph Stalin, if you know that guy, dictator from the early 1900s. Those who cast the votes decide nothing. Those who count the votes decide everything. And if these machines are pre-programmed to select the winner, you are wasting your moronic time, your idiotic time. All of us, bunch of morons standing in line. I'm going to go, I'll teach them. You're not going to be my senator anymore. You're not going to be my president anymore. I'll teach you. Ladies and gentlemen, CNN, we've got early reports. It's looking like 51-49 Hillary. That was actually closer than our polls were suggesting. We did see a run-up with Donald Trump coming in the last few days, but it wasn't that much. This is very surprising that he was even that close, but she still won. She still won, Again, they have to make it as close as possible. You'll be glued to your seat. These ones are in. This state's reporting. That state's reporting. He's up. He's actually up now. He's up now. No. She's up. Oh, yeah, but we haven't got to the swing state. Oh, how's the swing state? Wait till we get there. Okay. Oh, wait. Florida's swing state. What's happening? It's no different than watching a damn football game, okay? However, I'm going to vote. And you should too. Because I also want to stand around and see some of these exit polls. Guys, what are you showing so far? Oh, Trump by how much? Oh, an absolute blowout? Okay, I'll remember that. Because when I turn on the TV tonight and tomorrow morning, when we hear about the winner, don't tell me, oh, he barely won Florida. Hillary, she squeaked out Florida, took it from Trump, and that was the deciding factor of the whole election. Or are we going to find, we can't rig the votes this time, guys. The people are all over us on this. Let's go do the old electoral college maneuver. We'll pay these guys off massively, and we'll have the electoral college decide against the people's popular vote. So the people will vote 80% Donald Trump, and the popular vote doesn't mean anything. We'll have the electoral college do what we do. You're going to switch your vote, you're going to switch that vote, and then she wins. All I can tell you, be honest, this is all hearsay. This is all opinion, J. Snip for thoughts. All I can tell you is that I have a feeling we're going to be scammed again, and this will be the biggest one we've ever seen out of an election. I don't know how they're going to do it exactly, what it'll actually be, but I don't see Donald Trump stepping foot in that office. I've said that since day one. He will not be allowed to step foot in that office. Ain't going to happen. How they plan on dealing with that, again, they're going to rig the machines anyways. They're going to do it right in the face of the people. They're going to change the electoral college. I don't know. But I've been waiting a while for this. And we got about 17 days left. And I can't wait to see how this goes. Take care.